Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not, and welcome back to Halloween Horror Month. Today we're going to talk about the movie Malum. Yes, I know how they say it in the movie, but that's not how you say it. It's maybe nitpicky, whatever, but that's not how you say it. See, Malum is spelled with one L. Malum. It's spelled with one L. They say Malum in the movie, but if a word is spelled with one L in the middle, you use the long sound of the A. Or the vowel that's in front of it. Right? Like Golem. Golum. Golem. You put a L in there. Gollum. Yes, I know there's a U in Gollum too, but Gollum. Golem. So, that dictates it should be pronounced Malum, not Malum. So I'm going to call it Malum because that's how it should be pronounced. Anyway, Malum is actually a remake or reimagining of the movie The Last Shift. Boogada 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 boogada. It came out. Actually, you can do this and you can see both faces. Boogada 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 boogada. It came out in 2014, and I reviewed this way back in, I want to say 2022 for Halloween Horror Month on midnight of Halloween. Well, I didn't review it then. I think I had it go up then. But anyway, I think it was 2022. But, yeah. The interesting thing about Malum is that it's the same writer and director that's handling it. It's the same creative team. So you think, well, usually when you do any remake, you want to try to improve on the original. Except, of course, if the original is a classic, Nightmare on Elm Street or Halloween, and both of those turned out to be piles of shit. So, you're supposed to improve it. And if you got the original creative team doing this, you think maybe they can improve upon it. So I rewatched The Last Shift so that I can, re-educate myself on the movie. And I was like, why didn't I remember thinking it was okay, but nothing, not really my cup of tea, I guess, or whatever. But I'm like, what is it? Why did I not care for this movie? What is it? It's the ending. The ending to the original, which I'll get to. That was my problem. So I thought with this, the one thing they needed to do was improve the ending. They failed. It's probably worse, actually. Especially with some of the changes they made. It really needed to be a more upbeat ending, a different ending than it was. They went for another downbeat ending, another downer ending. With what they changed, I thought they were setting up something else. And it's essentially, there's still kind of the same elements in there, wherein she thinks she's shooting something else, and it ends up being something else. Thinks she's shooting one thing, and it turns out to be something else. That's still in there, but there's a difference. Not all the stuff they added, but some of the stuff they added just makes me scratch my head. One of the biggest things that they added with this is that The Last Shift starts with Jessica just showing up at her shift. This one tells us a little prelude with her father. In the original, we know that he was a hero. He stopped this cult and killed its leader. But he was a hero, and he died during the shootout. This version, he saves the day, brings in this cultist, who in this version is Malum instead of John Payman, which is also why I think it should be pronounced Malum, because it's similar to Payman, And he freaks out, starts shooting his fellow officers, and then shoots himself. And this is 1 year later now. We follow Jessica. And a character that wasn't in the original, Her mother is now also present as they're at his grave, and she's become an alcoholic because, of course, she has. Because that's the only thing we can do for people after a loved one died. Oh, her husband died. How we rate this character? Alcoholic. Always. They can't just be going through stuff. They got to be alcoholics. And I know other people's crutches is alcoholic or drugs. It's your alcohol or drugs. Why can't they just be going through shit? Why do they have to have some kind of vice like that? I don't know. Anyway, and there's that little bit, and then we get to her there. They also, in this version, in Malum, added a pig. After the homeless guy shows up, a pig shows up. They do have quite a few things that's the same. Like when she first goes in, and her commanding officer tells her to turn around, and she starts to leave. Hey, I didn't say you could leave. That scene's still in there. And then there's also Marigold, shows up. This time, she's actually in the police department with her talking, which she keeps the same lines, which doesn't make any sense, where she says the lines, I bet my tits in a pack of smokes, and then a pack of cigarettes, that this, and this. And I'm like, okay, that line doesn't make sense in this version because she's not smoking in this version. She's just sitting there. When the original, she catches Marigold outside smoking. He says, I'm going to finish my cigarette and I'll go. This version, that line doesn't make any sense then. At least to me. In the original version, she goes through files. This version, she finds video files, which is very of the now, sort of thing. They also use the same scene where she talks to his former partner, only it doesn't work in the new version because we saw him get fucking shot in the head in the prelude. Where in the other one, it was a big twist that he was dead. But he shows up, and if you pay attention at the beginning, you go, he's supposed to be dead. Why did they keep the scene in there? It doesn't work here. It doesn't. Right? And I don't think it was in the original version, but in this version, it's revealed that the dispatcher she's talking to is actually Malum. I don't know if they had that twist in the original. If it did, I missed it. Because while I had it on in the background, I was busy doing some light stuff. Laundry and whatnot. But anyway. But the biggest change is the ending, which is not a good thing. No. Oh, there's another change in this. Another big change, actually, is that during when she's going through the footage, she then starts to see a vision of the cult leader, Malum, with a baby that he calls Jessica. That's her name! Yes. And a younger version of her mother. And then her mother shows up and confirms that they were a part of the cult, that she got pregnant and they left, and then after her dad died, they showed up again, and although it doesn't make any sense because after she got pregnant, they showed up again, and then her dad took them down or something to protect the family, and they messed with them. They made them go nuts. And then the mom disappears. He's trying to find it. Then all this weird cult stuff starts happening. She starts taking out cult people. And then one of the big things is that in this version, they don't mention, in the original version, in Last Shift, there's a hazmat team that's coming to clean something up. In this version, they don't do that. So right away, I was like, good, you changed the ending. Unless it's going to be a bunch of cops. Because I can see that happening too, when she starts shooting the cult leaders, and it's backup. It's the backup. She keeps calling for backup. I'm like, they're going to do a thing where she shoots the cultists, and it's just the backup that she called, and she's still going to get shot. They just changed it to that. No. I almost would have preferred if they had the same ending rather than what they went with. So, she walks into this room area where the cult is, and she sees this demon creature. It, flies its face at her, and then she ends up in the hallway, and she sees the creature, and she shoots at it. Only for it to instantly turn into her mother. And I went, oh, we're doing... It's the same thing. Instead of a hazmat team, it's her mother. And I'm like, okay, now she's got to gear up and take this fucker down, right? No, she starts laughing and then shoots herself in the head. I went, what? No. What? You were supposed to make the ending better, not worse. And the movie ends with her body now on this throne, and then she sort of pops up, which means the demon has taken over her body. No, I'm sorry. That's not what you set up, right? You changed the beginning of this movie. You turned her father from a hero to a psychopath, which means the logical conclusion to this movie is her taking down this fucking cult and proving her dad was not crazy and bringing some justice to her family name. Because every time she says her last name, they criticize her for it. Oh, Lolan or whatever. No. Lauren, as in this guy Lauren. Like, I'm like, they have to do something with the ending this time where she saves the day and brings justice to her name. No, we just went for a more darker ending. It's the same ending, only now it's more spelled out. That where in the original it was left up to the imagination whether or not she was going crazy or if the cult was real. Well, now in this version we know that the cult is real and they succeeded in bringing back their demon lord in another vessel. I'm sorry, but that's not the ending it should have had. I didn't like it in the original, and it makes no sense in this version with what you set up. She should have... If that's what it felt like to me, and I was watching this. I'm like, well, it has to be where she takes down this cult this time. It means justice to her family. Make her family name not associated with murder, but in this time for being a hero. But nope. And can we both agree that these movies, to an extent, are ripping off Assault on Precinct 13? It's the same setup, only there's multiple people in that one on a precinct building that's going to be shut down. It's on the last night of the last shift. It's the same setup, only it's not just one person like in these movies. Can we admit that? That this guy, Anthony DiBlasi, saw Assault on Precinct 13 and went, hey, let's do that, but with a satanic cult and only one person at the station. Because I remember when I watched the original Assault on Precinct 13 months ago, I'm like, this reminds me of the last shift. And then as I'm watching both of these, I'm like, yeah, it's basically Assault on Precinct 13, but with very less people. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to tell you that this is not worth your time. Watch the original. There are some things that are a little more sussed out. You have a little more stuff, but that, like, I don't know. It just feels like people complained about the ambiguousness of the original. Okay, no ambiguity here. Everything's just spelled out for you. I don't get the point of redoing this. The one big thing you need to do is change the ending, and not in the way you changed it. We needed a more upbeat ending. We didn't need a worse ending, because this ending is worse in my opinion. So what are your thoughts on Malum? In the comments, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.